all of my groups. All right, so hi, this Sunday. How are you guys doing? Happy Friday. Hopefully, you all are getting ready to take care of your dads or your husbands who are fathers or any other dads that you know this weekend because it's Father's Day. So don't forget about the men in your life who are amazing dads. So don't forget them this Sunday. I've got some pretty cool plans for my husband. I'm taking him out to his favorite restaurant so he can sit back and not have to do anything. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. All right, so hopefully you guys are winding down and you've got your favorite drink in hand. I'm going to be sipping on some of my favorite drink, which is Crown Apple and a splash of cranberry juice throughout this session. But what I wanted to do today is I just wanted to kind of jump on. I thought about today kind of what was I going to talk to you guys about this Friday because this is my second installment on a Friday evening. And I thought about, because I guess let me tell you kind of how my day went. This morning I woke up and had to take my son to uh, summer school, and one of my clients ran across my mind, and I made a mental note that I hadn't talked to her since our session a couple of weeks ago, and I hadn't heard from her. And we usually do a weekly check-in, and I thought, oh my God, I need to reach out to her. And magically, within like 15 minutes, she had texted me and said, I really need to talk to you. Can you talk to me? And I thought, that's like the second time that's happened to me this week. My girlfriend, same thing. She, I was thinking I needed to tell her something, and then within 5 minutes, she texted me and was like, "Can you talk?" And it was like telekinesis. I mean, I don't know if that's what telekinesis is, but anyway, that's what I'm sort of thinking it is that I'm thinking I need to connect with people, and then magically they're showing up in my inbox or in my phone, and I need to do that. So what that spurred my thought for my conversation with you tonight was who your clients are, and do you have a connection to them, and are you targeting the right type of people so that you have those kind of connections with them. And I remember when I was a stylist some years ago, and I was in the salon, and there were clients that, I mean, even as a coach, right? Even when I work with salon owners or business owners, there are clients that you just have an amazing connection with, and that you love, and like you think about them, you think about their family, you think about what it is that you talk about, not only from a service perspective, but on a personal level. And so what I wanted to do today was talk to you guys about, like, do you know how to attract that type of person on a regular basis in your marketing? And are you working with those type of people on a regular basis? People that you love, 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 that bring you joy to work with, that make you excited to go into your business and service. Are you working with those kinds of people? And before I talk about how do you figure that out, let's talk about if you're not working with those kind of people, because I've been in the position where, I tell you a quick story. I had, this was, I don't know, back in 2010, so this was 7 years ago, and I had just opened up a natural hair salon, and I was sitting and I was doing a service, and it was a micro braid, and I hate doing micro braids. Like I don't like doing them. I've never liked doing them. They take a long time. People are always bitching and complaining about their results if one micro braid falls out. And I'm sitting there in hour 8 because this particular braid took 12 hours to do. And I think I made, I don't know, $180 off of the micro braid. And I'm sitting there in hour 8, and I'm only like, I don't know, halfway done with the lady's hair, 3/4 done with the lady's hair. And I'm thinking to myself, I've got another 2 hours to go before this madness, 2 or 3 more hours of this hell I'm in to go before it's going to be done. And I just remember vowing to myself, I am never, ever doing this again. I am never doing this service again, right? And recently, even as a coach, as a business coach, I found myself doing the same thing, right? I took on work that I wasn't happy with. It wasn't what I want to do. It's not how I want to operate, but I took the work on anyway. It was miserable. I didn't enjoy providing the service to the client. The client probably didn't enjoy receiving the service. Excuse me, I think that's my boys coming in. And I just was miserable, right? Everybody was miserable all the way around, right? And so I thought about that feeling, how I had the exact opposite of that feeling today when I met with my client, because I love working with her. I love talking to her. Like, she energizes me. I like, because she's coming to the table fully prepared to work on her business and get results in her business, right? So she is my ideal client. And I want that for you as well, right? So if you're working with clients or customers and you don't love it, like you don't love working with them, I would challenge you to think about, like, what are you doing to attract those types of clients that you're not like madly in love with? Like, why do you have clients that you don't love, or why are you working on things that you don't love? Now, I'm not talking about if you're working in a 9 to 5 and you don't get to define the client base that you have. I'm talking about if you own your own business, you're an entrepreneur, and you're solely responsible for attracting the type of people that you're going to work on, the customers that you're going to work with, if you're solely responsible for that and you have the control. So again, I don't want you to get it twisted. Like, if you are working for someone else and you don't get to control that market, right, it's not really anything you do. I would challenge that, maybe you need to find a position that you love working with a particular person. But if you're in control of the market, defining your market, you're in control of making sure that whoever it is that you want to work with, you get to make those decisions. That's what I'm talking about. So one of the things that came to mind for me was, okay, well, what am I doing that is attracting people to my business that are people that I'm not in love with, right? That I don't really like working on that particular service, or, that's not my ideal client. And it's not anyone's fault but my own. It's my fault, right? Because I accepted the work. There's something about the way that I positioned myself in the past that attracted that person. So I take 100% blame for why I have someone in my business that I'm servicing that I'm not in love with, because I have the power to say no. I have the power to decide who's going to be who I'm going to work with as a service provider or a product provider. I have that 100% control. So I never complain anymore about, oh, I don't like so-and-so, or I can't believe so-and-so, because it is all on me to work with the type of person that I want to work with. And so how do you get to that space, right? If you are in a space where let's say you're not meeting the numbers that you're desperate for money, or you feel like you've got to service everybody, or you have to perform all these services, and they're not the best services, but you feel compelled or obligated to do that, I would challenge you to say that it's still up to you. You get to decide as a business owner, and that is sort of, it pays to be the boss kind of thing, is that you get to decide who you work with. You get to decide who is going to be your client. That's 100% your decision. So if you're working with people that you don't necessarily care for, you're doing services that you don't care for, you're selling products that you don't care for, that's all on you as the business owner. So you've got to change that. You've got to be the one to say, stop, I'm not going to do that anymore. And that's what I had to do for myself. I had to take a look at my model and say, okay, what is it that I don't like about this particular client or that particular client? What is it about me that I'm doing that's allowing me to attract this type of person? Because I'm a firm believer that you attract what you are, right? So if there's something about someone that you don't like, 9 times out of 10, it's something that you're projecting that's creating that energy to attract that person to you. So I had to take a hard look at, what space was I in mentally that caused me to accept that client from the beginning, right? And at the time that I accepted that client was at a point of desperation. I was like, I need to meet these numbers. It's really critical that I meet these numbers, and so I'm just going to take on this business, right? It wasn't my core business. It wasn't something I was passionate about. So I sacrificed myself in the mix to hit a number that was really not, in the long run, hurt me, right? Because it sucked a lot of energy working with this particular client. I didn't enjoy it, right? So even though I hit a number, I didn't enjoy it. Like, I didn't enjoy the experience. I know that I didn't come 100% because it wasn't an enjoyable experience. It wasn't something that, really is the core of what I do. And so I think it's really important as business owners that you really take a look at who you service and why you want to service them. And so that's sort of the meat of what I want to talk about today. So when I ask my prospective clients and when I start working with customers, I ask them, like, what's your ideal client? And the first thing that I get with people when I ask them who your ideal client is, they give me some number, age, right? Oh, he or she is 25, between the ages of 25 and 55, and she, it's either a she or he, or it doesn't matter. I sometimes get economics, like they make a certain amount of money, they live, in a certain amount of geographical radius, and that's pretty much it. I don't really get a lot of distinguishing characteristics. I'll remember one of the clients I worked with, and she was telling me about, hey Lou, hi Jam. She was telling me about her ideal client. The person was sassy, and they were a go-getter, and they were independent, and they had a credit score of XYZ and all of that. And that still wasn't really tangible, because as a marketer, I'm really looking for some very specific things. Like, I'm looking for, like, what does that person like to eat, right? What is it like that person like to do on the weekends, right? What television shows are they watching, right? Because I'm trying to figure out, how do I find that person in a Facebook ad so that I can market to them. So when I talk ideal client, I'm very specific about what characteristics about them make up them. So even in my own exercise, when looking at my own ideal client, I had to redo my own client desire and stop being sort of superficial in understanding my ideal client. So I had to stop looking at what I look at from a Facebook advertising perspective and look at, okay, what characteristics do I want my client to have? And what I found in the discovery of working with clients that were not my ideal clients, one of the things that I found were characteristics that you can't necessarily identify in demographics. And let me give you some examples. For example, my ideal client is a client who has been in business for 18 months or greater. And the reason why that is because I want them to already have experienced some of what it takes to be a business owner, right? That's sort of a tangible characteristic, right? But an intangible characteristic that can only be really shaken out is through their ability to be a go-getter, right? Because I don't like to spoon feed information to people. I like people who come prepared, right? Who come prepared and ready to work on whatever it is that we're going to work on, right? I like people who like processes. I like people who are not only passionate about their particular industry, but are passionate about how to get whatever the problem is solved, and will jump mountains to get those problems solved, right? So those kind of characteristics, you can't find those characteristics in a Facebook, right? So it really has changed how I interview and how I screen my one-on-one clients, because those characteristics are critical for me to have a really good working relationship. So if I have to spoon feed a prospective client information, they're not go-getters, they're not willing to step out there and find information, come prepared for the meetings or what have you, that's not going to be a good fit for me. Um, I also like to work with people who are not scared of technology, because I am a technology like nerd. Like that's who I am. I refer to myself as the beauty nerd. That's what I am. I love technology. I love automation. I love what it does and allows you to do, and how it frees you up in terms of your ability to get your work done. So I'm a technology geek, right? So my clients don't have to be technology geeks, but they have to be receptive to working with technology as a solution. Meaning, let's take this for example. When I was a kid, I remember getting the mail. Like, I loved junk mail as a kid because I liked getting all the mail, and I liked stacking it up, and I liked to pretend that I was like a businesswoman, right? So I remember doing that as a kid. And so, I like to get the mail, I like to sort it, I like to, categorize it. That was my thing when I was a kid. And, now, like, all I have are systems that sort stuff, and applications and phone apps and everything that just sorts my life, right? Because that's kind of who I am. And so I don't necessarily need somebody who is a geek like that, but you've got to accept that I'm going to give you some technology solutions to help make your life easier, right? So that is one of the things that I found is important to me in terms of my ideal client. You got to find your stick, right? What are those sort of non-tangible characteristics that are important to you too? Because as it does pay to be the boss, as you have employees, and I'm speaking specifically to salon owners right now, is if there's a salon owner or somebody who's got staff, secondary staff that handles direct customers, I'm speaking to you as well. So let's take in the case of a salon owner. And there is a particular service that you love doing, right? You love doing blowouts, or let's say you only love doing blowouts. You don't necessarily care for color, you don't care for relaxers, you don't care for micro braids like me, you don't care for whatever that is, right? Doesn't mean that your salon doesn't have to provide those other services, but from an ideal client perspective, you are only going to focus on this type of client because that's what you love personally, right? And as an owner, you get to make that decision, right? In terms of who you individually are going to service, you get to decide and pick and choose, right? And that's what I want to see every owner, salon owner or not, be able to pick and choose their ideal client based on the services that they love to provide, and also the characteristics of the perspective and or existing customer that they have. Because let's face it, you're not going to like everybody that you service, but as an owner, you get to decide who you specifically are going to work on, and then those customers that may fit the mold from a demographic or a tangible characteristic, you can allocate those to your staff members, right? You can allocate that to other people in your business to service, because the person maybe from a personality trait may not be a good fit for you, but from a demographic and an ideal customer that can be a part of your business may be a good fit, right? So I really want I want to challenge you as owners in your business who are actually performing services to think about what can you do to identify characteristics, personality, or tangible or non-tangible characteristics about specific clients that you want to ensure that someone has in order for you to personally service them. I have that list down for myself. I actually have a very defined client avatar now that defines how I work with someone one-on-one from a one-on-one coaching perspective versus people that I work with on, let's say, in an online program. They don't necessarily have direct access to me. They have sort of filtered access to me, but I don't necessarily require that much from a person when they have indirect access to me as I do when they have direct access. So my challenge to you this Friday night, and as you go into next week, is to really take a look at who your ideal client is, right? from the perspective of your business, right? At a high level, right? Who do you want the business to attract versus you as a service provider in your business? Who do you want to work with as a service provider, right? So I'm a service provider in my business. To work with me one-on-one, I have a list of characteristics, tangible and non-tangible, that are important before I say yes to a prospect to work with them one-on-one. For someone to be in an online program, I have a different set of characteristics, right? So that's what I want you to do, because again, I want you to wake up every single moment of every single day that you work with your clients directly or indirectly and be in love with that process. I want you to love what you do, from your business, from the head of the business to the bottom of your business. Love everything about your business and really enjoy it, because as an entrepreneur or small business owner, you've made this choice. You're not doing this just because you've nothing better to do. You created this business for you and your family and to create a legacy. So you should enjoy it and you should love it. You should be in love with the people that work with you directly. You should enjoy it. And if you don't, it's your fault and you need to fix it. So with that, I hope you have a great Friday, and I'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Wednesday's topic is going to be, we're going to be talking about on Wednesday how to create a marketing plan for your business, how to use a marketing plan to generate sales for your business. So I've got a great template that I'm going to be walking through with you all, and I'll also be offering it for free in that live. And so I hope you all have a great Father's Day, or you make your father in your life have a special day, and you guys have a great Friday. Bye.